If you're tired of being embarrassed by your erectile dysfunction, keep watching. When I was dealing with erectile dysfunction, I remember researching all the solutions under the sun, so I'm guessing this probably isn't the first video you clicked on. For this reason, I'm going to skip all the anatomy and get right to the solutions. There's only two causes of erectile dysfunction. It's either physical or mental. The way to determine if the cause of your ED is mental or physical is to try to get erect on your own by yourself. If you cannot get yourself erect at all, then the problem is physical. If it's physical, there's only two reasons why it's happening. Number one, you have poor blood flow, or number two, you have low testosterone. Unless you're geriatric, diabetic, have cardiovascular disease, or you're extremely obese, poor blood flow probably isn't the problem. The best way to tell if the issue is poor blood flow is to try taking Viagra before having sex. If Viagra fixes the problem, then blood flow was probably the issue. But I can tell you from my experience, there was a time where I was fed up with erectile dysfunction. I swallowed my pride and I said, okay, I'll take a Viagra, I'll give it a try. But it actually didn't work because poor blood flow wasn't the issue. I was in pretty good health. And it turned out that it was my mind that was the issue that we're going to talk about later. But if you're in generally decent health, more likely than not, poor blood flow is not the problem for you. So if the problem for you is physical, the way to tell if low testosterone is the cause instead of low blood flow is your morning erection. So if you don't wake up with morning erections, or you don't wake up at night when you wake up at night to pee, if you don't wake up with erections at all, and the problem is very likely low testosterone. Now, there's a lot of other signs of low testosterone, like chronic fatigue, low libido. Like if you don't have any sex drive, you don't want to have sex, you can't lose fat, you can't build muscle, you're losing hair, you can't grow any facial hair. These are all signs of low testosterone. So if you have the combination of erectile dysfunction, you're not waking up with morning wood, and you have all those other signs of low testosterone, then low testosterone is very likely the problem. And the solution for you is not testosterone replacement therapy, but natural testosterone optimization strategies. If the cause of your erectile dysfunction seems to be low testosterone, check out the link in the caption, give the course a try, and that will definitely help you increase your testosterone levels, which will reverse your low testosterone caused erectile dysfunction. Now, if you were like me and the problem wasn't poor blood flow and the problem wasn't low testosterone, you can get erect by yourself, or you wake up at night with erections and you're able to get erect by yourself, then the problem is mental. This is called psychogenic erectile dysfunction. You have stage fright. Every time you go to have sex, your body perceives it as a threat, and this puts you in the fight or flight response. And when this happens, it secretes hormones and neurochemicals like norepinephrine and cortisol. Now, epinephrine and cortisol have the effect of vasoconstriction, which means tightening the blood vessels. And in order to facilitate an erection, the body needs vasodilation or relaxation of the blood vessels in the penis. So when your body's in fight or flight mode, it is not able to get erect. And this makes sense evolutionarily. If you think about it, if a caveman were in fight or flight mode because he perceived a dangerous threat like a saber-toothed tiger or something like that, his body would not want to prioritize sex in that situation because the priority is survival in that instance. So if you perceive anything as a threat and your body is put into fight or flight mode, your body will divert blood away from your sexual reproductive organs to the muscles in your body to help you escape or fight. So the point of what I'm saying is, if you are in fight or flight mode, your body will not be able to get erect. Now, in my experience, all it took was one time for me to not get erect that created a self-fulfilling prophecy. There was just one night I had too much to drink. I was with a girl that I probably shouldn't have been with, and the man downstairs didn't work. Now, I was so embarrassed from that situation that the next time I went to have sex, I was so worried about it happening again that I put myself in fight or flight because I perceived embarrassment as a social threat, which put my body into fight or flight, and that caused the problem to happen again. And I had no idea what was going on. So I went to try to have sex again, and I was getting stage fright. I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to get erect. So as I was going to have sex, I would be worried, what if I don't get erect? What if I don't get erect? That caused me to perceive judgment as a threat, which put me into fight or flight, which made getting an erection impossible. And this happened more than half a dozen times. And since it happened so many times, it was ingrained in my brain, and my brain was conditioned to perceive sex as a threat. The brain works through neuroplasticity. There's something called Hebb's law, which is that neurons that wire together fire together, which just means once you condition your brain to behave in a certain way, it's more likely to behave that way over and over and over again. So in order to break this cycle, after doing tons of research, I realized that I had to recondition my brain to not perceive sex as a threat. So here's how I did that. I would lay down, I did this every single night, and I would visualize and imagine myself in a sexual situation. And I would walk through the whole process of meeting up with the girl, foreplay, and everything leading up to sex. And during this time, I would work on getting myself erect entirely mentally. And anytime during that visualization exercise where I felt resistance, or I could feel my fight or flight system activating, I could feel my heart rate increase, I could feel stress, all just from visualizing, I worked on taking deep breaths and letting go of those thoughts and returning to the present moment of the imagined sexual activity. And since I did this probably 50 to 100 times, slowly over time, I was able to recondition and rewire my brain to not associate sex with a threat. But this wasn't the only thing that I did. I also started learning how to meditate. Now, meditation has two benefits when it comes to erectile dysfunction. Number one, the slow, deep breathing trains your body to move into a parasympathetic state. And this is the opposite of fight or flight, which is often called feed and breed. And when your body is in feed or breed mode, it is relaxed, your blood vessels are dilated, which enables digestion and erections. This is the opposite of the arousal system that is involved in fight or flight. So slow, deep breathing engages the parasympathetic feed or breed mode. But meditation also has a more powerful effect that most people don't realize, which is that it makes you capable of controlling and being aware of your thoughts. You probably have thoughts that run through your mind that you're not even aware of. And when you go to a sexual situation and you're not aware of the thoughts that are going on in your mind, they can then activate the fight or flight response without you even realizing it. So here's how that might look. You could be in a situation where you are having foreplay with a girl, and then in the back of your mind, without even realizing it, the little voice in your head is thinking, what if I don't get erect? What if this doesn't go well? And these thoughts are what catalyze the fight or flight reaction in your body. So by meditating and gaining more awareness of your inner monologue and the ability to let go of certain thoughts that you don't want in your mind, you can then return to the present moment and not be controlled by the thoughts that lead to your self-fulfilling prophecy of psychogenic erectile dysfunction. Now, in my situation, while I was using the visualization technique to recondition my brain, I was also fortunate enough to find a really patient, helpful woman, a girl who walked me through several instances of sexual interactions where it didn't work, but she didn't judge me, and she was really accepting and caring and helpful and kind about the whole process. So I felt so comfortable with her that I didn't feel that if I failed, I would have to find another girl because I couldn't deal with the embarrassment of her knowing that happened. So that completely negated the fear of failure effect, which made the whole problem worse. So if possible, try to find a girl who you can explain the entire problem to. Just say, hey, sometimes I get stage fright before sex, and this causes me to lose my erection. You just got to man up, swallow the pill. Almost every girl will actually respect you more for being forthright about that. And if she's not, then she's not the girl for you anyway. It turned out that girl who was really helpful with me turned out to be the woman I'm still with to this day. And that showed me that she was worthy of being the one. So sometimes ED is a sign that your body's telling you you shouldn't be with a certain girl. And if you're trying to have sex with a girl that you're not even comfortable enough to tell her that you struggle with this problem, then you shouldn't be having sex with her anyway. So my advice to you is to find a woman who would be open to helping you through this process. And you never know, you might find your life partner. One thing I would tell my past self who was dealing with this problem is to just kind of let it go, because you're going to get over it, and your future self is going to look back like I look back on this story now and just kind of smile at the whole thing. So don't go into sex thinking it's this big deal and you have to perform well and it's going to be the end of the world if your psychogenic erectile dysfunction happens again. Trust me, you're going to get through it. You're going to look back on it one day and it's not going to be a big deal. So just try to let it go. And when you have sex, try to have fun. Enjoy the moment. Let loose. Just try to have fun, because sex is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's not supposed to stress you out. So try to go into it with that mentality. And I found that helped a lot. Also know that you are not in this alone. And I know this sounds kind of cliche, but when I was struggling with the psychogenic ED thing, I did not want to tell any of my friends about it because I was too embarrassed. But it turned out that my roommate, the guy that I was living with, had the exact same problem. I don't remember exactly how it came up, but we just got to talking one day and it turned out that we were going through the same thing at basically the same time. And he and I kind of talked about the strategies we were using to overcome it. And that was super helpful to have someone to relate to and, be supportive about it, and to kind of share experiences was really great. So don't be afraid to just bring it up with your buddies. And again, if you have a friend who would judge you or make fun of you for that and not be supportive, then that's not your friend anyway, and it's a good sign. You should not associate with that type of person. So maybe talk to other guys and see if they have this problem, and maybe some of the strategies that they use to deal with it. And just having a bro to have your back is always helpful as well. So give that a try. Hope this video was helpful, and I promise you'll get over this problem. Just keep working at it and it will go away. Trust me. And definitely don't beat yourself up when it happens. Self-flagellation doesn't help anything. It only makes the problem worse. And, I remember when it would happen after an interaction with a girl, I would literally rage and punch my bed and be all pissed about it. That extra emotion just further imprints the negative experience in your brain. So I know how enraging it can be, but as much as you can, try to not beat yourself up, because it's not really your fault. It's just your body's gone haywire. And as long as you're doing, everything you can to work on it, you have no reason to judge yourself or get mad. It only makes things worse. So trust me when I tell you from experience, don't beat yourself up.